I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk to folks from the VTuber community about their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We're joined by MayaMaya Magindara. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me here.
I appreciate you coming on. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
All right. So, Magindarang Araw. I'm MayaMaya Magindara, a cannibal mermaid VTuber from the Philippines. I'm a part of Balangay Live. We are an indie group that aims to promote Filipino culture and folklore, and everyone has VTubers based on Philippine mythology.
So, and what is yours based on? What mythology is that?
So mine is based on the Magindara mermaid. It's a type of mermaid that folklore can't really agree on with each other if it's a mermaid that saves people and saves fishermen by giving them fish, or if it's a mermaid that's just getting everyone fatter so she can feast heartily on their flesh once they're dead.
So I would say the female of the species.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, the males aren't a lot better though.
Oh, but now I'm not now. Not saying they're any better. I'm just making a comment. The
We
the
save children.
uh, it seems like VTubing has really caught on. A lot of Philippines folks are in the VTubing business now.
I guess that's probably because as a culture we're very into entertaining. Like no one gets sick, no child is safe during Christmas season. Everyone has to either dance or sing to get gifts from grandma and grandpa, so that raises a lot of people that are really into either singing or dancing.
And that's another thing I've noticed too is that the VTubers I've seen on online have a lot of different facets. They're not just coming on and playing games. They're coming on and doing art. They're coming on and doing lots of vocals. We've got a cover that you've done that's going to be coming up in a little bit. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Uh, when did you decide you were going to get started and do something like this?
Ah, I kind of always wanted to do content creation, but I didn't have the funds for it, and like so I put it in back burner. I used to work. You worked in radio, right? Used to
Oh
work in
yeah.
broadcast, so
Which station?
that doesn't. It's already defunct at this point, so
So's mine.
kind of pointless to say. Yeah,
That
a lot
happens
of
in
them died.
radio in every country.
Yep.
Yeah, it. But you definitely have a tremendous voice for it, and um, I noticed when I listened to your cover that we're going to be playing here, Lucifer, I believe the title is. It is this something that you, as you said, as a child, did you sing in front of a lot of people, or was it just something you like to do on your own?
Mm, as a child, I was the youngest in my family, so I was the designated singer every time there's like Christmas events. It's like get the youngest to sing karaoke, so it'll be cute, and then the adults can like get drunk. So I'm the distraction child.
You-
I'm sure a lot of Filipinos have experienced the same thing.
A lot of countries have that same thing.
Yeah.
Just look at the kids, and everybody sneaks off to
Look at
the
the
other room.
kids.
Did you get started at VTubing fairly recently, or was it during about 2020 or so?
It was around 2021
Hmm.
when I think I got COVID, and then I just decided, okay, I can't let this pass anymore. I'm gonna try out content creation, and I thought I was only going to be here for 2 months max. It's gonna be 2 years in a week.
Yeah, it. I imagine it really does catch you, and once you kind of get a feeling for it, and you've had good experiences, you want to keep going.
Hmm? Yeah, I started with a model that I made myself, and now I commissioned a few friends to draw and rig it.
Well, that in itself is way beyond my comprehension. I can't draw stick figures, as I've said here before, and for someone to be able to create a model on their own and then be able to get somebody to rig it up for them, that shows some talent.
Listen, I had to do something in the 30 days that I was stuck in lockdown.
I know what I know what I did when I was in lockdown for COVID, and it wasn't moving very much. When it happened to me and my wife, we just kind of sat there. But But for someone now these days to have the opportunity, your audience is the world, uh, and I think that is great for anybody in any country, wherever their background is. Have you ever stopped and thought while you were streaming that you could be talking to somebody on the other side of the planet?
Mm, sometimes with like horror games like Fear and Hunger, I tend to get a lot of audience from different countries. Like Fear and Hunger is a Finnish game, so I had one audience who was from Finland who's explaining, I guess, some jokes that didn't translate well into English to me.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'd get people from Japan. I think there was one person who thought I was a Russian. I don't know where he's from. He just thought I was a Russian. It's weird, really, but
Well,
it's also amazing.
you're a lot closer than we are here in the middle of the United States. but but really, it's amazing to me because I'm being an old man, and I was in radio in the '80s. I couldn't have talked to you in doing this. It would have been it would have taken forever. It would have been bad phone lines. It would have sounded like we were yelling in tin cans, and it would have cost a mint. It just wouldn't have been done. And I'm just thrilled that folks we're able to talk in this. And VTubing has really done that for an entire generation, and for you as well.
Yeah, it has. I didn't think it would happen to me.
Well, I mean, it's really something to see if folks are able to showcase their talents. And obviously, you're a very talented person. Folks who've been able to watch and see what you've been able to do. It's got to feel good to know that there are people who are appreciating that everywhere.
Yeah, it is. I'm just I'm just really amazed by the reach. Not even with like other countries, even just locally. Because listen, making friends in your 30s is hard.
Yeah,
It's okay. My audience already knows my age. That's fine.
yeah.
I can talk about it.
Try when you're almost twice as old.
Oh my god. But yeah, VTubing has actually led to me meeting up other people of around. I thought it would be mostly young folks that would be into VTubing. Most people that I've met are actually people that I went to college with,
Yeah.
and this
It,
is how I find out. It's like,
well,
oh,
it's
wait a minute, I went to college.
yeah. I mean, it's really something to see that you kind of get this stereotype of all the younger folks, and there are plenty of younger folks doing it, but some folks have just happened to kind of hit their stride entertainment wise in this field at a slightly older age, and I don't think there's been a lot of backlash to that.
There's been a surprising amount of. Listen, I don't really agree with what mainstream fans are calling female VTubers in their 30s, but it's become a bit of a thing that they're looking for. Unfortunately, the term they call us are hags, and I'm not sure if I agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm still young, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's an audience apparently.
That's a that's one of those things you can like. Okay, kids, wait till you're up here, and you'll know something different by the time you get there. But it is great to see that people of all ages have uh, been able to show off what they got, and it's still I think courageous for you or anybody to go out there in front of an audience that you're not seeing and perform and say, here, what do you think? I think it's pretty courageous.
I had some like dreams of performing as a child that I never actually got to do.
Hmm. And
I it's yeah. I used to play the piano. I used to play the violin,
wow.
but it's hard to practice when you live in an apartment. And starting up with the violin is not pretty. It's the screechiest sound in the universe. So I had to give it up because my neighbors were complaining. The piano, not so much. I think the problem with the piano was I have tiny hands and the piano is big. So at some point, I couldn't reach the keys anymore. I give up.
It's kind of hard
This is where all of my pent up.
it's kind of hard to play some of those classical super sessions when you can only reach about five of the notes at once. I My problem is my fingers are too stubby. I can't reach to anything on the piano.
Oh,
And plus, I'm cross-handed, so I don't know which hand is doing anything at any particular time.
oh God.
I can drop things with both hands, and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
You can
I'm really.
really do things with.
I can if you hand me something, I can drop it with my left hand or I can drop it with my right hand. Either way, it's going to end up on the floor. It's
Good job.
the the when you decided to get going, and was this what you wanted to do right off the bat? This particular model?
I was actually going to try and get into short form videos.
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of faith in my gaming skills because I kind of missed out on what most of the people in my generation played, which was the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era. I missed out on all of that. So I didn't think I would make a good gamer. So I wanted to be a cat boy. I wanted to be a cat boy that explains the news. And then I
Mm.
realized that's really too close to my job.
Yeah. Once you do the radio stuff and you want to get away with it, you kind of want to get away from it.
Yep.
You don't
And
necessarily
then
want to bring it home.
uh,
But the opportunity came up to do this particular model, or was it something that you sought out?
a friend asked me, "What else do you want to do in VTubing aside from like getting into news?" That was also a friend from like the news business. She was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to keep talking about the news? What else do you want to talk about?" And I'm a big folklore and fairy tale nerd, so I said, "I want to talk about fairy tales and folklore because that's also something that I find interesting." So she was like, "Okay, then why don't you become a creature from Philippine folklore?" And there's a lot of choices. I actually discovered the Magindara mermaid while researching for the type of model that I wanted to be. I originally wanted to be a manananggal. That's like a woman with her body split in half. The upper body flies up with bat wings every night to hunt her prey. And I thought that was pretty. But there
Wow.
was a lot pretty. There was a VTuber who was much prettier than anything I can do. I was like, okay, I'll give that to her. I
Oh,
can compete with her.
there's
I'm a
plenty of
big
room.
fan of her. She's in the same group. We're friends now.
What's Go ahead, give her a shout out. What's her online name?
Her name is Halia VT HALIYA underscore VT.
All right.
She's a manananggal VTuber. Mm, it's really pretty. She usually streams in Filipino,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how she manages to make the most grotesque creature very comforting to listen to, but it's definitely a talent. I admire her so much.
Well, you get to hear a lot of people's voices, and sometimes the voices match up with the model. Sometimes the models don't necessarily match up with the voice, but um, they kind of what's the best word for it? Develop that over time. It was. Do you think that you were able to kind of jump into to your model immediately and kind of catch what you wanted to do out of it, or was it something that developed over a few weeks?
I actually considered giving my model a standard, high pitched anime girl voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that's gonna be hard to sustain for more than an hour. I feel like my soul's going to deteriorate if I do that. I do know a few friends who manage to sustain it with voice changers, but I'm not very techy, so I couldn't set it up. Eventually, I just settled for my own voice, and then that's when I realized, first of all, people like it. Second, I apparently have an accent or a sing song intonation that I didn't notice before, but listening to my own audio right now, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, I talk like this.
Oh, the dreaded listening back to your own tapes and radio. That's something I tried to avoid as much as possible. I don't want to hear me either.
It
Yeah,
hurts, but I have to.
that's right. They used to give us when I was doing the old radio DJ stuff. Yeah, listen to your air check tape and you'll get better. I said, no, if I listen to my air check tape, I'll cry. I'm not gonna do that. I'll stay as far away from that as possible. But you're able to get in with a group of folks. How many people are in this group with you that are based on Philippine folklore?
Right now, wait, let me count. There's 11.
Wow.
Yeah, there's 11 people.
Wow. And what is the name of the group? Do you have a group name?
Balangay Life.
Balangay?
Balangay. Balangay, yeah.
Mm,
It's named after the boat that brought the first Filipinos into the islands.
mm. Well, folks who don't know about the history of the Philippines, it's a wide and varied one. It'll take you on some turns, and it's very much worth looking into. The fact that the country's been able to stay together after everything that's gone through, I think is amazing. And folks really do need to look into the history of the Philippines. Um, the the VTuber culture in the Philippines, has it been a good one? Has it been one where you've kind of got competition? Has it been a supportive culture?
Hmm, right now, VTubing culture in the Philippines hasn't been picked up by the mainstream, so we don't have a lot of mainstream support as compared to Indonesia, which manages to actually host VTuber events, or Singapore, which is almost always in the forefront of these kinds of entertainment. Right now, VTubing in the Philippines is mostly indie.
Hmm.
It's hard to set up a corporation, and there's a lot of crossover between VTubing and cosplayers. Like some people say VTubers are just cosplayers on their downtime. We're not all cosplayers, but there's a lot.
Well, hey, yeah,
The
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I think, I think,
Hello.
yeah. Are you there? We didn't want to lose you
Yeah.
there.
Hello. Sorry.
The In a way, when you're using the models, you've got that little buffer between yourself and the audience, and I imagine that makes it a little easier to perform. Would you be able to do this if you didn't have the model?
Probably not. If anyone's watched Turning Red, that Disney Pixar movie with the girl that turns into a red panda, I look like one of her aunts. I don't think there's I think there's an audience for that, but I'm not sure if I want to cater to the audience for that. Like
Oh,
Auntie Gaming is
oh,
probably going to be the channel.
oh! Stop it! No, it's really it's allowed people to express themselves a little more and with a little less direct contact with an audience. Maybe it gives them a little more courage to do so.
It does. I'm just afraid that my family might find this. Actually, my family does kind of know.
Well, I'd hope they'd be proud of you for what you're able to do. And
My grandfather sometimes would call me
mhm.
because he knows that I would sometimes tell folklore on stream. So he'd be like, "Have you told them about this tale from my childhood?" And then we'll be talking for 3 hours. Some of the tales I can talk about, some of them, def- it's not safe for work, Grandpa. I can't do this.
Not on this channel anyway.
Not on this channel, Grandpa. I want to make money.
The language situation in the Philippines, I don't think people realize about the language. I know that a lot of folks do speak English over there. How prevalent is English to the average person over there, and what is the basic languages of the Philippines?
So, prevalence of English, I think as long as you've had an elementary school education, you would probably be able to speak conversational English.
Hmm.
As for languages, the main language is Filipino, but there's a sordid past about this language that
Yeah.
it just happened to be the language that the person who was a president at that time spoke. So it was based on Tagalog, which was the language that the president at that time spoke. So he decided, okay, this is the language for everyone now.
Yeah. And there is
And so, yeah,
so
that's the main language, but I also speak a language that's more prevalent in southern Philippines because that's where my family is from, called Bisaya.
mm, it's a
It's one of the
regional
major ones.
kind of a regional language.
It is.
Mm.
There's like 8 major regional languages and then a lot of dialects in between that.
Well, I know that folks might be surprised to see some folks from the Philippines who have what they would see as Spanish surnames, but there is a Spanish background to the Philippines as well. If you take a look at the history, I really, folks, you really do need to take a look at the history of the Philippines. It's a great read, and it's amazing that the country has been able to come through all of that and survive as their own country at this particular point in time. Now you've got how many covers have you done now up on YouTube?
There's two. There's that one in my channel, and then another one that I collabed with another VTuber, another Filipino VTuber who's also a mer person, but she's a mer goat. Her name is Sloppy Barrels, and she did an English cover of what was that song again? Oh no, I forgot my own cover. Identity. There we go.
Identity. Folks, you can check that. That's on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, that's also on YouTube.
So tell us about this one. We're going to be bringing this up here. Lucifer, I believe, is the name of it. Well, how did you decide on this? And tell us about the song.
Ah, how did I decide on that? There's a lot of songs that I actually want to cover. Some of them I kind of want to translate to my own language, and Lucifer just happens to be. I don't know. I did that to try it out if I could actually cover a song. I didn't actually get that one properly mixed. I did it. I did most of the audio things by myself, so I'm sure it could be a lot better.
Well, folks,
I decided on that song because in the folklore of the history of the Magindara mermaid, she's actually the daughter of the god of evil. So I thought this would be fun to play around with my character, I guess.
well, I tell you, she's downplaying herself in this because you're going to hear the song here as we fade out a bit. It's a great cover. It's Lucifer, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Busamada, oroka, oroka, dantawa. Ano hito ga kirai desu ka? Ano hito mo kirai desu ka? 憎しみから育てましょう快楽も共にあげようあなたの隣にいましょうわがままにも構ってあげようアーメン祈りも捧げましょう君のそばで笑ってあげよう無様だ無様だあ愚か愚かだあんたは万歳人間様生きて生きてる皆様偉いね偉いねご苦労様別に浸りたいのでしょう何の避けたいのでしょうそろそろ寝頃はいいでしょう美味しく超えたことでしょうこの世の頭はおかしいそれもそれでまあいとかしいアーメン仏に笑顔なしマリア様さえも笑えない無様だ無様だ愚か愚かだ私も万歳人間様待ちわびたわいただきます無様だ無様だ愚か愚かだ誰もが万歳人間様ゲノにまみれてるあなんて愉快な世界なんだろう
That's Lucifer, and I tell you, you talk about it could be mixed better. I think it sounds great.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and we're going to see more, I hope, from you as far as the singing is concerned. You say you got a couple more you want to get into?
Yeah, there's a couple more that I want to get into. There's a song about that has a lot of wordplay about sharks and love that I'm having a lot of fun translating from Japanese to Filipino.
All right, that's going to
Hope I can
become
keep the puns.
well, folks. You'll be able to check it out on the YouTube channel. That we'll have the link for it in the description of this particular interview. Also, check her out online, and the Twitter account's up there as well. That's where I got a chance to meet this wonderful person, and I appreciate you coming on. I hope that once you get some things rolling here this year, some more things, we'll get you back on again.
Thank you very much. I'm planning more folklore content actually.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.